Hello everybody, welcome back to Nothing Fancy Acres. I'm Nathan. Today we are gonna go ahead and mow the field over at my grandmother's. That's the field that we are going to be converting into a hay field. It used to be a pasture for the cattle, and then a larger part of it was also my grandfather's garden. You might be wondering why we don't bring the garden back. We have a better spot picked out over at our house. A little more convenient. We can get water to it easier. But anyway, we have the bush hog hooked up to the International, and it shouldn't take us too long, maybe an hour or two. I have some trees knocked over that I'll have to move around. I've already mowed a spot, so I'm just going to move those down trees over to where I already mowed, and then when the weather is a little bit cooler, I'm going to cut them up and sell the firewood and burn what I can't sell, and we'll go from there. So while we're out here, I figured I'd show you guys around a little bit, since I haven't actually done that. So this is our field. It's a little bit of a crest, so you can't really see the backside. It's about 2-ish acres, somewhere in that neighborhood. And then that is the shed row that we had built. So one stall is going to be storage for feed and hay and whatnot, and then another stall will probably be my wife's tack room, and then we'll have 2 stalls for the horses. Now down the road there may be one more horse added on, but we're going to cross that bridge when we come to it. Now there's the little trailer that we use just to pup around with. It hauls scrap metal and stuff like that. It's not licensed for the road yet, but I have to do a few repairs and then I should be able to haul scrap with it. That was my great-grandfather's manure spreader. It's a bit worse for wear. Needs new tongue and groove pretty much throughout. Yeah, when I get to that project, it's gonna get a full overhaul. This came from Huntington County. It spent a lot of years up there before my grandfather bought it off of them and brought it down here. Next thing is 2-bottom plow. That sat out in the field for the last however long. I went through it, made sure everything worked. The tires actually surprisingly hold air. They all 3 have tubes, so nothing of concern there. And this is what we're going to use to plow up that field that I just talked about. You might be wondering, well, why do you need to plow it? There is a lot of roots and rocks and a lot of areas of concern that are pretty rough, and I feel using the plow, it gives us an opportunity to kind of start fresh with good soil. And it'll be this fall and all of next year we'll be prepping that field to start pulling hay from. Which brings us to the next piece of equipment. We have a set of tandem discs here. They actually used old radiators for the weights. And what I'd like to do at some point is maybe cut out some sheet metal that'll fit these boxes here. That'll serve as a secondary for holding rocks, because I know there's going to be a lot of rocks that come out of that field that we're going to be prepping. Then over here we have the cultipacker, which you use after the discs, just to kind of jam the seeds into the ground. And that's about it. Oh, and then over there we do have the field. Now, you see trees, I see potential. So we'll take a walk over there before I jump on the mower, and I'll show you guys what we have going on. So now that we're a little bit closer to the field, this is actually pretty much the line of where I want the field to start. There's two large trees here, and the reason that I don't want those to go is actually pretty sentimental. That tree right there is where my dad's childhood dog is buried. His name was Butch. He got him in high school. And he hung around the farm his entire life. I can even remember as a little kid when Butch was around. Great dog. Uh, my grandfather called him Fleabag, and as a kid, I thought that was just about the funniest name that you could have for a dog. Uh, I was pretty young when Butch passed. I would have been about 10 or 11. And then this other tree here, I believe, was where my childhood dog was buried, Cinnamon. Cinnamon was like a chow mix. You know, we got her when I was in late middle school, and she was a great cuddling dog. You know, she wasn't much for walking, but she was a great dog. She lived a good long full life, and so I have no interest in plowing that area because of that. The last thing that I'd want to do is disturb the resting place of those two dogs. So call it what you will. To me, it's sentimental, and it's just not worth the extra 10 feet of grass. So anyway, what we've got going on is this tree line has got to go. And as you can see, some of it already has. There was some cattle fencing and some other fencing and even more fencing. A lot of it was patched together over the years. But I managed to get a lot of it dug out in the past few weeks. And so just taking my time with it. That pile of trees has to get drug over to here. So as you can see, I mowed this yesterday, and so it gives me a place to put all this junk. So then we'll walk over here. And this is the bulk of the field. So again, this is somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 acres. Uh, it's not a lot, but I believe if we treat it right, we should be able to get enough hay off of it to sustain our little operation we've got going on here. So right over there, that's an old burn pile, and I need to basically knock everything back to that so I can get to it. I know there's a lot of junk in there, a lot of metal and stuff like that. So once I get to that, I'll take my magnet to it and just spend a day or two digging through the pile before I push it all over. There's a pretty sizable groundhog hole there, so I should be able to fill a lot of that in. Then there's another pile of trees right there. So that is a pile of rocks. It's not a huge pile of rocks, but it's enough that it needs to be dealt with, and I need to level that area off because we'll gain, I don't know, a couple of feet off of the field by doing so. So just trying to maximize everything here, you know, so that we can get good growth out of this field. It gets awesome sunlight, and so we should be able to again have a sustainable field for hay here, which we'll be able to turn right back into our operation. So now that we did the walkthrough of the fields and some of the equipment that we have, I'm gonna go through and just do some light greasing, check the oil, check the hydraulic fluid, and check the oil level in the gearbox for the bush hog quick before we go mow. I do grease this pretty often, not so much that it's pouring grease out of the joints, but often enough to make sure that it stays well maintained. A big part of what we've got going on is we want to make sure that this is sustainable. We have no interest in buying brand new equipment. My wife and I, we live pretty well below our means in the sense of not taking out loans for everything. All of the equipment that I showed you has long been paid for. We bought this tractor shortly after we bought the house. It's an International 484, great utility tractor, and it has an 8-foot bucket on it. So, you know, it serves every need that I could possibly throw at it, from pushing trees, pushing snow, pulling things out, running equipment. And so, you know, it's important to us to take care of it so that it lasts a long time. So again, I'm just gonna go ahead and hit some grease fittings. I don't get all the big huge ones down under and inside, and I don't go through the whole gambit every single time. I do like to do the loader often, and then I'll do the joints on the bush hog as well. One thing that people commented on in some of our recent videos is that we have been lacking in the sound quality department. Just want to give another shout out to our friends out in Montana. My wife already did that in one of our other videos, and they sent this little microphone package to us, and it's been a great little investment because, well, now y'all can hear us. At least we hope. If you can't hear us, you can certainly hear Victor. He is the chattiest fella. So before we take off, I'm also going to do a little bit of light maintenance to the bush hog. You're going to notice a pile of buildup residue around the gearbox. Again, this goes back to the principle that we don't buy expensive equipment. This was bought on Marketplace for a couple $100. I knew that it had a leak. You keep some gear oil in it, it keeps going. That's really all that I can ask of it. This winter I'll probably go through, tear the gearbox off, and do some seals in it. As of right now, the backlash in the gearbox is perfectly fine. I've only got a couple thousandths out of it, and so I'm happy with that. And as long as it's performing the way that I need it to, we're going to keep letting it go, and we're just going to add oil and grease it as we need to. So you might be wondering, why am I checking the fluid level? Yesterday I went through that, and so I know that I'm right around a half a quart low still, so I'm just going to add about a half of this bottle, and we're going to call it that. I think we'll be in pretty good shape there. I'll just knock back some of that dirt, put the cap back on. Give it a good cinch, wipe my hands off. We're good to go. So we're up here in the garden. I did manage to push a couple of those trees over already. You know, I didn't feel it was necessary to film that part. I am now going to go ahead and we're going to clear out this last wee little bit right there in front of me before I push that tree over to basically where we're at. That'll allow me to go ahead and mow the rest of the field out back. I don't know how much of it will get done today. I have some estimators coming for our fencing for our pasture. So I might be under a little bit of a time constraint, but that's all right. We'll get to it when we get to it. woods out here. Just taking my time, mowing high, and actually I could probably drop it down a little bit more. There we go. So just taking my time, making some oddball paths before I can actually see what I'm doing. Again, there's that burn pit, so that's going to be a point of contention for a little bit. Then there's that rock pile. Now, I also have a couple siblings and they like to play forts, so that little higher spot right there is, there's a couple of bunkers that they dug out. It's actually kind of impressive. There's massive holes in the ground, so we're going to have to fill those in. But I'll catch up with you guys in a little bit. Now that I've gotten a bunch of the brush out of the hedgerow, I pushed it all into the area that you already saw that was mowed. So then I'll just push that all over to the burn pile, cut it up, so on and so forth. We're ready to mow. Let's get after it. So far we've done a couple passes, and a couple branches that I missed picking out of the field, but overall everything's going really well. It's just really warm outside, so not too long I'm going to go see Amanda and get a drink, and I'll take you guys